Now, I heard yesterday on a broadcast, national broadcast, national Christian organization with national Christian people on it, and they were talking about these transgender athlete bills and bathroom bills, and they said it's just common sense. Now, I have said that same thing. And we would say generally that is true, but you know why that's not true? Listen to this from Sinclair Ferguson in a message I'd encourage you all to listen to called Doctrine in the Dock. You see, we don't like to talk about doctrine in church much anymore because it's believed that doctrine divides. In fact, we have some whole, quote, denominations that say we don't believe in any creeds, which is in fact their creed. It's true. And he's talking here about man being created in the image of God, and that man was not only to be a revelation of the image of God, but bore witness about the reality of God. So man is both an observer as well as a participant in the play that began in Genesis chapter 1. And here's what he says.
But not only the doctrine of God as the revealer, but that same opening chapter of the Bible teaches us that this revealing God has made man as his image and in his likeness, for the very purpose that there might be in man, man and woman, a receptivity, an ability to grasp the revelation of God, to walk in fellowship with God, to know God. Now you see what happens when this teaching about man being made as the image of God disappears, as it's disappeared, hasn't it, in Western civilization and Western philosophical thinking, in the plain man's thinking. What happens when you get rid of the notion that man is made as the image of God? Do you exalt man? Does the humanist exalt man? No, what the humanist does is abort babies and prefers whales to human beings and believes in euthanasia and believes there are no significant gender differences to speak of, and therefore is in the process of demeaning and destroying man, far less simply destroying the glory of God. I often say to people, you know, we are so ignorant of our history that secularists, humanists, they believe, yes, you know, Jesus taught some nice things. If we can just get rid of this notion of the particularity of the Christian faith, we'll all get back to being the nice, civilized people we used to be. And they don't know enough about history to know that before the gospel came, we were pagans. And when the gospel goes, the only thing left is to worship ourselves, or the whales, or the stars, or human progress. But we are on the high road to self-destruction because we are denying and repudiating the most fundamental thing about our being, that we have been created by this loving Heavenly Father, and He has made us as His image bearers.
It'd almost be a good place to stop. See, we're not concerned about what the truth is about man. We're concerned about college scholarship fairness. Who's going to hold records and be on the plaque at the wall at the school? So in other words, what I would like to say is that this gender stuff is not a matter of common sense. As I told the reporter for the Tennessean the other day, if I believe that there is not a God who is independent of creation, independent of all things, lacking nothing, creating therefore only for the sake of His own glory, and making everything to manifest His glory, to exist for His glory, but I don't have that belief system, then why cannot what I think about myself as my essence of myself be more important than my body? For gosh sake, that argument's been going on since the Greeks with Plato. Who is to say it's not common sense that what I think about myself, the essences of my being, are more important than my body? And I said, and if I believe that worldview system, as they believe that worldview system, then I would say this bill is mean-spirited, heartless, and unfair. Because who I am is what I think I am, just as the Supreme Court said. And you want to know why we're thought of as mean-spirited people? Because we're worried about fairness. And to them, in their worldview, this bill is unfair, and I would concede it to them. Now, is that unchristian? No. Because Paul said, if there isn't a resurrection of the dead, then let's just eat and drink, because tomorrow we die. There is nothing wrong. We are so legalistic that we're afraid to admit the other side is right if their worldview is right. Because we're not confident enough in our worldview because we haven't laid principle against principle. And I said to the reporter, if that worldview is true, though, then I have to understand why, if my mind controls my body, do I have to change the givenness of my body? Just declare yourself a woman, and you are. There's no reason to change the body. But see, they know they don't believe that. So they can't be fulfilled in what they think they are unless they can change the body and go to a particular bathroom or locker room. None of that makes any sense.